This is the Horse Radio Network.
You've just landed in episode 506 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by feedxl.com, online nutrition software. Hi, Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from Dr. Wendy Ying. Dr. Ying is the co-host of the driving radio show here on the Horse Radio Network, as well as one of the few female four-in-hand competition drivers in the world. Plus, she is a veterinarian that practices traditional Chinese medicine, and she's an awfully interesting gal, too. Today's tip is the first in a 7-part series about the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. Today, the introduction. But first, a word about today's sponsor, FeedXL. When you go to feedxl.com, you can get all of the nutritional information you need to make sure your horse has a healthy, balanced diet. Just log on and tell FeedXL about your horse. Everything from age and activity level to nutrition-related diseases or conditions. Then, tell FeedXL about your horse's complete diet, and I mean complete. Entering Sweet Feed 12% protein just won't cut it at FeedXL. You can enter the brand, formula, and quantity of exactly what your horse is eating, and then see the results. FeedXL does all the math, all the nutritional science, and gives you an accurate picture of what your horse is really eating, whether his nutritional needs are being met or exceeded. And as if that wasn't enough, FeedXL has forums where you can interact with other FeedXL members, fantastic mini articles about horse nutrition that are quick and fun to read, and a cost calculator where you can figure out just how much that nutrition is costing you. And who doesn't want to know that? Go to feedxl.com today and discover for yourself why smart horse folks from all over use it to be absolutely sure they're feeding their horses exactly what they need in the most cost-effective way possible. And we've got a newsflash. FeedXL.com has been awarded Best Software Product Servicing the Agricultural Industry by the Australian Business Awards. Congratulations, FeedXL.com, and enjoy today's tip.
Well, Wendy, it is time for I got to get some Chinese music for this.
You do?
I do. I need to make a little bumper. I'll do that for next week, okay? We'll get that prepared. All right.
That sounds, like some kind of like chimey, gongy music going into my... All right. That sounds...
And right before you're about to start, we'll have it gong.
Oh, that's good. Gong. Then I know when to start.
All right. This is, as we said earlier in the show, Wendy is also a doctor of veterinary medicine. She is a vet and also practices traditional Chinese medicine here in the United States. And I thought it'd be really cool. I talked her into it, doing a traditional Chinese medicine sort of segment every week at the end of the show. And we had you on the Stable Scoop show, Helene and I did, and we thought we were going to talk about combined driving. We talked 3/4 of the time about Chinese medicine, didn't we?
I know. Yeah, we did. Well, the thing is about Chinese medicine, what we started talking about was the 5 elements. And the 5-element theory is not just related to veterinary medicine or, medicine, but that theory is used in all different aspects of Chinese life, like there's some kung fu associated with it. There is feng shui, like designing your life. So basically, it's a theory that a lot of Asian people subscribe to, and it's a way of categorizing things to explain their behavior. So in
what
go ahead.
way do you mean categorizing things?
Well, like there's 5 elements, and these elements are related to like natural properties. So like, for example, the 5 elements are wood, fire, earth, water, and metal. And you have to remember that this theory was thought up 4,000 years ago. So it was a way to explain the natural world that people could understand. But because it's pattern recognition, it works very well for disease processes. I am not an expert on design, so I don't know how it works for design. But basically...
and does it relate to your personality?
It relates to your personalities. And when I give talks, especially with dressage people and a lot of driving people also, but especially with dressage people, they love to hear about the personality of them and their horse and then how they relate, because then that can help you with performance and your relationship with your animals. And I think that's what Helena liked the most out of that talk.
Well,
because I categorized her and her horse.
I got to tell you, within 5 minutes, you had her pegged, and I'm telling you were right on about her and her horse. And by the way, they didn't match. They weren't a good match.
Yeah, they didn't.
As evidenced by the fact that a week before that, which you didn't know, that the horse had dumped her and she pretty much screwed up her knee for a year.
Oh, no.
You didn't know that at the time.
I didn't know that.
And when you told her that they weren't well matched, she had just fallen off and gotten dumped.
Right.
And it was just... you had me at that point.
It was like I was a psychic.
Yeah, it's like you're in her mind.
But it's not. But it does seem like that. It does seem like you're a psychic. But really, it's just pattern recognition. And also, the thing is, like, she's a fire type person, which I will get into more during this series. But a fire type person is always going to pick the water horse, and that's what she did. And then it's an end in disaster.
Yep. And I think you had me pretty well pegged, too. And that only took you about 5 minutes. But then I'm pretty transparent. Anybody who listens to the shows for any period of time.
Well, you have to be kind of outgoing to have 8 radio shows.
Yeah. But so what you're going to do over the next 5 weeks is we're going to give a more detailed overview of each of the 5 elements, right?
Right. Each of the 5 elements and then how they relate to each other. Because all the 5 elements relate to each other. And each element... Like, I'm just going to break it up because I only have 5 minutes. I could go on forever. But each element is related to a dominant type of personality. So if you can classify your horse to its personality and then kind of understand what your dominant personality is, then you can figure out your relationship with them. And like Helena's problem might not be resolved. It's going to be hard. She's going to be fighting her personality to have a good relationship with that horse.
But yet you said, because it also applies to animals and people, you said that her and I are actually a good fit because of, I forget which I was. I
think you're Earth.
Yeah, and you said Earth and fire seem to go together?
Yeah, they do. They go well together because a fire is really outgoing and can get overly excited, whereas Earth is very laid back and, nurturing. So you guys balance out. But if you have like 2 fires on a show... that no one will ever get to talk. None of the guests will have any time to talk.
So we're going to have to figure out by the end of this which you are.
I know.
This is going to be fascinating. So
I kind of think I'm a wood because I'm kind of crabby a lot of times. So
that's what Sterling said.
I know he did.
Sterling would be her boyfriend. Sterling is. You'll hear us refer to Sterling and Jennifer on the show. Sterling is your fiance, right? It's fiance.
Yep. Yep. And he's a horse trainer at Gala Driving Center, and
my coach.
And your driving coach, yes.
That's right. And then Jennifer is my wife, and she's a producer here on the Horse Radio Network. You'll hear her on the morning show, and she also does the Horse Tip Daily Show. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about the 5 elements. And what you're going to want to listen for is which element are you and which element is your horse or your other animals, your dogs for that matter.
Yes, it works very well with dogs and cats.
Or spouse. Which one is your spouse and are you compatible?
The spouse is really, that can be helpful or hurtful. Because you almost don't want to know too much.
Yeah, that's
true. You might overthink it and say,
that's true.
You know what, you're only doing that because you're a
And let
metal.
me put the disclaimer in here now. We're not responsible for any divorces or anybody selling their horses. We are not responsible for that. I'm just adding that disclaimer for the benefit of the Horse Radio Network. And Dr. Wendy Ying.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks for looking out for me.
You're welcome.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Wendy and Glenn the Geek. To listen to all of Wendy's tips, just go to horsetipdaily.com and go to the experts drop-down menu on the left. All of our experts are right there, alphabetized and easy to find. And by the way, Glenn the Geek is on there as well. You can also go to www.sportcobb.com and visit Wendy's website and see what she's up to. Please stop by the Horse Tip Daily Facebook page and let us know what you think of the tips you hear on the show. It's also a great place to tell us about topics you'd like to hear us cover. You can subscribe to all of the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.